restaurant owner on the brink of bankruptcy, shelters beggar and daughter in a desperate act. Little did he know, this simple gesture would change their lives forever. Lucas found himself at a crossroads where the concept of resilience was redefined with each passing day. After losing everything, he and his daughter Sophie sought refuge in an unlikely place, a failing restaurant owned by Andrew, who was struggling against a tide of financial woes that threatened to pull him under. This restaurant wasn't just a failing business, it was a place where dreams crumbled alongside the walls, yet hope stubbornly lingered in the corners. For Sophie, this place was more than a shelter. It was a silent promise that love and family were forces that could withstand even the most trying circumstances. The atmosphere, once alive with music and laughter, had now fallen silent, like an unfinished melody. Lucas, no stranger to challenges, saw in Sophie's eyes the need for transformation. He knew that it would take every ounce of his creativity and determination to overcome this phase. However, there was something in that restaurant he couldn't ignore, a sense of community, an invisible thread of empathy that still connected the people around them. It was this feeling that Lucas clung to, believing that, despite everything, this place could be the turning point he so desperately needed. Andrew, on the other hand, was the very picture of generosity in the midst of the storm. Even with the restaurant on the brink of collapse, he continued to provide meals for those in need, including Lucas and Sophie. It was as if he understood that in difficult times, kindness is what keeps us standing. This gesture created a bond between them, something beyond words, a mutual understanding that life is made of unexpected collaborations. Lucas felt that this generosity deserved to be rewarded, and perhaps he was the right person to give Andrew what he needed most, a new chance. But reality was harsh. The restaurant was teetering on the edge of ruin, and Andrew, in a rare moment of vulnerability, revealed to Lucas just how dire the situation was. The idea of selling the restaurant wasn't just a possibility, it was almost a certainty. Hearing this, Lucas felt a tight knot in his stomach. He knew he was facing a colossal challenge, but he also knew that challenges were opportunities in disguise. In that moment, he decided that he couldn't just stand by and watch another piece of his life be taken away. The decision was made. He would help Andrew, no matter the cost. Lucas, with his background in advertising, saw the hidden potential in that place. The idea of using his expertise to save the restaurant sparked something within him, a spark that could light up that darkened space. He proposed a deal to Andrew, his expertise in exchange for a safe place for him and Sophie to sleep. Andrew, with few options left, accepted. And so, a partnership was born. Not just a professional one, but one that carried with it the hope of better days. Lucas knew it wouldn't be easy, but adversity had always been the fuel for his creativity. And so, amid the chaos, something new began to grow. Lucas and Andrew, despite the difficulties, were ready to face whatever came their way. They knew that in times of crisis, more than strategies were needed. Heart was required. And in that restaurant, where every wall seemed to tell a story of overcoming, the struggle was just beginning. What they didn't know was that beyond survival, they were about to discover the true meaning of community, love, and transformation. And so, the journey continues. Andrew had always been a man with a big heart, even when fate seemed to test his limits. The restaurant, which had once been a symbol of success and prosperity, now struggled to keep its doors open. Yet, instead of succumbing to despair, Andrew chose a different path, the path of generosity. He knew that the value of things wasn't just in what could be gained, but in what could be given. And so, he began offering meals to those in need, even when resources were scarce. For Lucas and Sophie, these meals were more than just food. They were symbols of hope amid adversity. Andrew's generosity did not go unnoticed by Lucas. He saw in every plate served an act of love and resilience, something that deeply touched his soul. Andrew could have chosen the easier path, giving up on everything and looking out only for himself, but instead, he chose to share the little he had, creating an invisible bond between himself and those he helped. This empathy, this ability to put others' well-being above his own, was something Lucas admired and respected deeply. To him, Andrew was more than a businessman. He was a living example that generosity could be the key to transformation, both personally and collectively. As the days passed, Lucas felt that the connection between him, Sophie, and Andrew grew stronger. It wasn't just gratitude for the food they received, but a kind of silent alliance, a collaboration born of mutual respect. Lucas saw in Andrew a kind of inadvertent mentor, someone who, without saying a word, taught about the true value of generosity. This relationship began to evolve, becoming more than just an exchange of favors and turning into a bond of friendship and mutual support. For Sophie, Andrew became almost a father figure, someone she could trust in the chaos that had settled into their lives. Lucas knew that the restaurant's situation was critical, but he also knew that Andrew's willpower was something rare. It was this strength that kept them standing, that inspired them to keep fighting. Lucas began to realize that there was something powerful about being surrounded by people who, even in the worst circumstances, didn't lose faith in human kindness. And this realization began to shape his actions, making him even more determined to repay the generosity Andrew displayed daily. He knew that together, they could face any challenge, no matter how difficult. The restaurant, which once seemed like just a place of work, was beginning to transform into a symbol of resilience and unity. Every meal served was a small victory against despair, proof that generosity has the power to change lives. Andrew, without realizing it, was creating something larger than himself. He was building a community based on love, support, and collaboration. Lucas and Sophie, though they had lost so much, were gaining something that money couldn't buy: a new family, a new purpose, and the inspiration to keep fighting. And so, while Andrew continued to serve others, even amid his own crisis, Lucas began to realize that his own journey of overcoming was just beginning. He knew that the road ahead would be tough, but with Andrew by his side, he was confident they could face any obstacle. Andrew's generosity wasn't just an act of kindness, it was the fuel that kept the flame of hope burning, and with that flame, they were ready to face the next challenge. Andrew's restaurant, once vibrant and prosperous, was now teetering on the edge of collapse. The harsh reality was impossible to ignore. Debts were piling up, customers were dwindling, and bills were accumulating like a constant reminder of the impending failure. Andrew, ever resilient, tried to maintain a facade of normalcy, but the truth was that he was being crushed under the weight of these adversities. One night, amidst the silence of empty tables, he decided to open his heart to Lucas, revealing just how desperate the situation had become. The idea of selling the restaurant wasn't just a possibility, it was almost a certainty. Lucas, who had fought his own battles against adversity, immediately grasped the gravity of the situation. He knew what it was like to lose everything and watch dreams crumble before his eyes. Andrew's revelation hit him hard, stirring a mix of empathy and determination. Lucas felt that he couldn't just stand by and watch, as another piece of his new world fell apart. He understood that this restaurant was more than just a business to Andrew. It was the embodiment of years of hard work, sacrifices, and love for the community. And now this pillar was on the brink of collapse, threatening to take with it not only Andrew's stability, but also the only refuge Lucas and Sophie had. The decision to sell the restaurant wasn't an easy one for Andrew. Each time he looked at the walls adorned with memories of better days, he felt a tightening in his chest. He knew that once the restaurant was sold, a part of himself would disappear with it. But reality was unforgiving, and Andrew saw no other solution in sight. The fear of losing what little remained of his dignity and the responsibility of protecting those who depended on him weighed heavily on his mind. This dilemma was what he shared with Lucas, perhaps hoping for advice or simply a comforting word. As Lucas listened to Andrew's confession, he couldn't help but feel a deep need to act. He realized that he was at a crucial juncture where his choices could determine the future not only of Andrew, but also of himself and Sophie. The situation was desperate, but Lucas firmly believed that where there are challenges, there are also opportunities for overcoming. He knew that with the right combination of creativity and determination, it was possible to turn even the darkest moments into light. But for that, It would take more than good intentions. It would require a plan, a clear path to reverse the situation. The connection Lucas felt with Andrew was more than just camaraderie. It was an alliance forged in the furnace of adversity. Lucas knew that this was his chance to repay the generosity Andrew had shown, an opportunity to rise again alongside someone who was also fighting for his survival. He began mentally mapping out the steps that could be taken to save the restaurant, knowing that he would need Andrew's support and trust. The fight would be tough, but the prospect of seeing the restaurant flourish once more, as a symbol of resilience, was motivation enough to move forward. And so, while Andrew grappled with his own doubts and fears, Lucas began to visualize the path to salvation. He knew that the battle they were about to face would require much more than willpower. It would require strategy, innovation, and above all, the collaboration of everyone involved. The situation was desperate, but Lucas had a vision: to transform the restaurant into a gathering place not just for meals, but for hope. And with that vision, he prepared for the next step, knowing that the struggle was only just beginning. After hearing about Andrew's situation, Lucas knew he couldn't just stand by. The restaurant was more than just a struggling business. It was a symbol of everything he, Sophie, and Andrew needed: stability, security, and a second chance at life. The decision to help Andrew wasn't made lightly, but rather stemmed from an almost visceral need to make a difference, to not let another pillar of hope crumble before his eyes. Lucas had experience in advertising, a skill that could be exactly what the restaurant needed to turn things around. And so he made Andrew a proposition. He would help save the restaurant in exchange for a safe place for him and his daughter to sleep. Andrew, with a heavy heart and few alternatives in sight, accepted Lucas's offer. It was a deal born out of necessity, but also out of a growing trust between the two men. Lucas knew that this was his opportunity not only to repay Andrew's generosity, but also to show Sophie that, even in difficult times, it's possible to overcome challenges with creativity and determination. He began thinking of strategies, of how he could use his skills to transform the restaurant's image, make it appealing again to the community, and perhaps even turn it into a gathering place for those seeking inspiration and comfort. Lucas was aware that success wouldn't come overnight. He would need to invest time, energy, and a lot of effort to turn the situation around for the restaurant. But he also knew that he had something valuable on his side: resilience. This very quality, which had kept him standing after so many losses, now propelled him to fight for Andrew's, Sophie's, and his own future. He began working on a plan, analyzing the target audience, the restaurant's weaknesses, and the opportunities that could be leveraged. It was a monumental task, but Lucas saw it not just as a mission, but as an opportunity to transform lives, including his own. As the plan started to take shape, Lucas knew he would need Andrew's support, but also the support of others around them. He realized that for the restaurant to truly thrive, the community would need to be involved, creating a sense of belonging where everyone felt part of that transformation. Lucas knew that by giving Andrew this new perspective, he was also planting the seed of a larger change, one that could resonate far beyond the four walls of the restaurant. The idea of collaborating with Andrew, and perhaps with others in the community, began to solidify in his mind as the next logical step in this journey of overcoming. Lucas and Andrew sat down to discuss the details of the plan. Andrew, who was initially skeptical, began to see the possibility of a turnaround. The confidence that Lucas exuded was contagious, and Andrew felt a renewed sense of hope. Together, they started working on the first ideas, from small menu changes to creating promotions that would attract new customers. Lucas knew that every detail mattered, that every action could be the deciding factor between success and failure. And as they planned, a new sense of determination began to take hold of both of them. And so, as the first steps were taken, Lucas knew that he was just at the beginning of a long journey. There was a lot of work ahead, and the difficulties were still great, but he also knew that he was on the right path. The restaurant, once a symbol of despair, was beginning to transform into a field of possibilities. And with every decision, every action, Lucas felt that he was one step closer to building something new, not just for him and Sophie, but for everyone who believed in the power of overcoming and collaboration. And so, the next challenge was waiting to be faced. In the midst of all the chaos and uncertainty, a new source of support emerged: Emily, Andrew's daughter. From the first moment Lucas met her, he sensed that she had a different energy, a kind of light that seemed to brighten any room. Although young, Emily carried a passion for life that was evident in everything she did. Her greatest passion, however, was music. She saw music as a way of expressing herself, a means of communicating with the world, something that transcended words and touched people's hearts directly. And it was this passion that quickly revealed itself to be a crucial element in the restaurant's new phase. Upon learning of the restaurant's critical situation and Lucas's plans to revive it, Emily didn't hesitate to offer her help. She knew that the restaurant was more than just a business to her father. It was part of her family's identity. And with her passion for music, she saw an opportunity to contribute in a meaningful way. Emily proposed the idea of introducing live music as part of the restaurant's new attractions, believing that it could not only draw in new customers, but also create a warm and vibrant atmosphere where people felt connected to both the food and the ambiance. Lucas was impressed by Emily's proactivity and her contagious enthusiasm. He realized that she wasn't just an ally, but a true partner in this journey. Together, they began planning how to integrate live music into the restaurant, from selecting local artists to creating themed events that showcased the community's musical culture. Emily suggested, for example, jazz nights where local musicians could perform, and even musical challenges where customers could try to guess the songs played on the piano. These ideas not only added value to the restaurant, but also created an emotional connection with the customers, something Lucas knew was essential for long-term success. As they worked together, Lucas and Emily began to develop a connection that went beyond the professional. There was mutual admiration, a tacit understanding that both were united by the same goal: saving the restaurant, and with it, the hopes of their respective families. Emily, with her talent and creative vision, complemented Lucas's skills in a way he hadn't anticipated, but now saw as essential to the success of the plan. Lucas began to realize that with Emily by his side, they had a real chance not just to save the restaurant, but to turn it into something greater, a true gathering place for the community. Emily brought a new dynamic to the team, something Lucas couldn't have achieved on his own. Her passion for music and determination to make a difference were crucial in infusing new energy into the project. With each rehearsal, each new idea put into practice, the restaurant began to come alive again, like a phoenix rising from the ashes. The customers who once passed by without a second glance now stopped to listen to the music, to feel the atmosphere, and ended up staying for dinner. The impact of Emily's involvement was undeniable, and Lucas knew that without her, the road to success would have been much more difficult. And so, with Emily's collaboration, the plan to save the restaurant began to materialize. But Lucas knew there was still much work ahead, challenges that needed to be faced and overcome. The music was just the beginning. There were other areas that needed attention and other people who could join this journey. But for now, Lucas felt confident that with Emily by his side, they were on the right path to transforming the restaurant into a place where not only food was served, but where people's souls were nourished. And the next step in this transformation was about to be revealed. With Emily's enthusiasm and Lucas's experience, the restaurant's revitalization plan began to take on a concrete form. Lucas knew they needed more than just simple changes to the menu or the decor. They needed a strategy that would involve the entire community and create a new identity for the restaurant. The central idea was to transform the restaurant into a place of unique experiences, where each visit would be memorable and customers would feel they were part of something special. Lucas and Emily started working on a series of events and promotions that would attract different audiences and highlight both the culinary and musical elements that were becoming central to the restaurant's new identity. One of the first ideas to come to life was to create a dish-guessing challenge. Inspired by culinary creativity and a desire to engage customers, Lucas and Emily decided that on certain nights, customers could participate in a game where they had to guess the main ingredients of special dishes. Those who guessed correctly would win prizes, such as free dinners or discounts on future visits. This initiative not only encouraged active participation from customers, but also created a fun and competitive atmosphere, turning dining into an interactive and exciting experience. Another pillar of the plan was the introduction of live music nights, something Emily was particularly excited to implement. With her passion for music and her connection to local artists, she organized a series of musical events ranging from jazz nights to more intimate acoustic performances. The live music not only attracted new customers, but also created a vibrant and welcoming atmosphere where people could relax and enjoy a complete experience that went beyond just food. For Lucas, this was a way to revive the spirit of the restaurant, turning it once again into a gathering place for the community. As these initiatives were put into action, Lucas and Emily saw immediate results. The restaurant, which had been on the brink of bankruptcy, began to see a steady stream of customers, drawn by the novelty and quality of the experiences offered. Word of mouth started to spread, and each event night became more popular than the last. Lucas knew they were on the right track, but he also understood that they needed to keep innovating and adapting to the customers' needs and desires. The revitalization of the restaurant was an ongoing process, and the key was to maintain the momentum and engagement. In addition to the events, Lucas also began working on the restaurant's advertising, using his expertise to create campaigns that highlighted the new concept. He knew that to ensure long-term success, the restaurant needed to be seen as more than just a place to eat. It had to be recognized as a destination, a place that offered unique experiences and left people eager to return. Lucas used all the resources at his disposal, from social media to partnerships with local influencers, to spread the word about the restaurant's rebirth. Each campaign was carefully crafted to resonate with the community and attract different groups of customers. With each new initiative, the restaurant began to transform. What had once been a place in decline was now thriving, thanks to the combined efforts of Lucas, Emily, and everyone who believed in the potential for something greater. But Lucas knew that success was not guaranteed. There were still challenges to be faced and obstacles to overcome. However, with the revitalization plan in full swing and the first signs of success visible, Lucas felt more motivated than ever to continue this journey, knowing that the real test was yet to come. As the revitalization plan began to unfold, the first signs of change became evident. The restaurant, which had once been silent, was now buzzing with energy and life. Tables that had long been empty were now filled with curious and enthusiastic customers, drawn by the new promotions and the live music that filled the air. Lucas and Emily watched with satisfaction as business picked up night after night and revenue began to grow. The atmosphere in the restaurant had completely transformed, bringing with it the hope that this place could indeed become a popular gathering spot in the community. The dish-guessing challenges were an immediate hit. Customers loved the idea of participating in something interactive, where they could test their palates and compete for prizes. This not only brought fun to the dining experience, but also created positive word of mouth that spread quickly throughout the town. Lucas realized that, in addition to boosting sales, these events were creating an emotional connection with customers, something he knew was crucial for building loyalty. People were coming to the restaurant not just to eat, but to be part of an experience, something that had become a significant competitive advantage. The live music, introduced with so much enthusiasm by Emily, also began to show its results. Every night of music attracted a diverse crowd, from young people looking for a lively evening to couples who enjoyed the romantic atmosphere created by acoustic performances. The restaurant had become a place where people not only came to dine, but also to celebrate special moments and connect with local art and culture. Emily, with her talent and dedication, had managed to make music a central part of the restaurant's identity, something that resonated deeply with the community. Lucas and Emily began receiving positive feedback not only from customers, but also from other local business owners who saw the increase in activity in the area as a sign of revitalization. The restaurant was becoming an example of how creativity and collaboration could turn a dire situation into an opportunity for growth. For Lucas, these first results were more than just numbers. They were signs that they were on the right path, that all the hard work and tough decisions were starting to pay off. He knew that the initial success was only the beginning, but it was also confirmation that their choices had been right. With the steady flow of new customers, Lucas noticed that the restaurant was beginning to stabilize financially. The debts that had once seemed insurmountable were now being paid off, and Andrew, although still cautious, began to believe that perhaps the worst was behind them. For Lucas, this moment was especially significant. Seeing the restaurant slowly come back to life gave him a new perspective on the power of resilience and determination. He knew there was still much work to be done, but these first results were proof that, with effort and creativity, it was possible to turn any situation around. And so, as the restaurant continued to thrive, Lucas and Emily knew they would need to keep innovating and adapting to maintain the growth. The initial success was just the foundation on which they would build something even greater. They were determined to turn the restaurant into a symbol of overcoming and collaboration, a place where the community could come together, be inspired and celebrate. And with these first results as motivation, they prepared for the next steps, knowing that the real test of their vision and abilities was yet to come. As the restaurant thrived, something even deeper began to develop between Lucas and Emily. The time they spent together, working side by side, revealed not only their complementary skills, but also a special connection that went beyond the professional. Every challenge they overcame, every new idea they implemented, strengthened the bond between them. Lucas couldn't help but admire Emily's determination and passion, and she, in turn, saw in Lucas a quiet strength. Someone who, despite all the adversities, maintained a clear and hopeful vision for the future. This mutual admiration soon evolved into something more. The support they offered each other, especially during moments of uncertainty, began to create a sense of closeness. Lucas found himself thinking of Emily not just as a business partner, but as someone he could share his deepest thoughts, fears, and hopes with. For Emily, Lucas became a figure of stability, someone she could completely rely on. This mutual trust became the foundation of a friendship that slowly started to blossom into something stronger. As the relationship deepened, Lucas and Emily discovered that they shared similar values. Both believed in the importance of family, the power of resilience, and the need to make a difference in the lives of those around them. These shared beliefs further solidified their connection, making the time they spent together not only productive, but also enjoyable. Their conversations, which initially revolved strictly around the restaurant, began to expand to other aspects of their lives, revealing a growing desire to be present in each other's lives in more personal ways. The restaurant, which had been the catalyst for their union, now served as the backdrop for the blossoming of a romantic relationship. Lucas began to realize that his feelings for Emily went beyond professional admiration. He was falling in love. Every moment they shared, every glance exchanged, only increased his certainty that Emily was someone special, someone with whom he wanted to build a future. For Emily, the feelings were mutual. She was drawn to Lucas's inner strength, to his ability to face challenges with calmness, and the way he always put others' well-being first. This new phase in their relationship brought a fresh layer of motivation for both of them. They knew that together, they could not only make the restaurant flourish, but also build a life together. The restaurant, which had once been a symbol of despair, was now becoming the stage for a growing love story, one that inspired those around them and brought even more purpose to the work they were doing. Lucas and Emily were discovering that, just like the restaurant, love could also bloom in the face of adversity, as long as they kept their hearts open and were willing to face challenges together. And so, as the relationship between Lucas and Emily continued to grow, they knew that the future held many surprises. But with the strength of their connection and the success they were building together, they were ready to face any obstacle that came their way. They knew that the love they shared, like the restaurant, would need to be nurtured and cared for. But with their dedication and mutual support, they believed they could overcome any adversity. The next step in their lives, both personal and professional, was about to unfold. Over time, the restaurant underwent a complete transformation. What was once a dark and nearly abandoned place now flourished as a vibrant and welcoming gathering spot, attracting people from all corners of the city. The creative strategies and tireless dedication of Lucas and Emily began to bear fruit in ways they couldn't have imagined. The restaurant was no longer just a place to eat. It had become a space where the community gathered, where people connected, and where memories were made. Every night was a celebration of overcoming and the spirit of collaboration that had guided them throughout this journey. The success of the restaurant didn't come by chance. It was the result of careful planning, relentless execution, and above all, a shared vision. Lucas, with his expertise in advertising, knew how to position the restaurant at the heart of the community, creating campaigns that not only attracted customers, but also engaged them in an authentic way. He understood that the restaurant needed to be more than just a place where people came to eat. It needed to be a destination, a place that offered unique experiences and made people eager to return. And that was exactly what they managed to create. Emily, with her talent for music and her understanding of the importance of a welcoming atmosphere, turned the restaurant into a place where art and cuisine met in perfect harmony. The live music nights, the special performances, and even the dish-guessing challenges had become highly anticipated events in the community. Emily knew how to touch people's hearts, creating an emotional connection that went beyond the simple act of dining. The restaurant, under her influence, became a symbol of creativity and innovation, a space where tradition met the new in a harmonious way. The impact of the restaurant's success was felt throughout the community. Many local business owners began to notice the increased activity in the area, inspired by the transformation they had witnessed. The restaurant became an example of how collaboration, resilience, and dedication could turn even the most desperate situations into opportunities for growth. For Lucas, seeing the restaurant thrive was a validation of all the hard work and the choices they had made. He knew they had created something special, something that not only benefited their own interests, but also strengthened the community around them. Andrew, who had watched the restaurant's rebirth with a mix of disbelief and pride, began to see the business with new eyes. The place he once feared losing was now a beacon of success, and he knew this was only possible thanks to the partnership with Lucas and Emily. Watching the restaurant flourish brought Andrew renewed hope and deep gratitude. He understood that without the collective effort and the vision of Lucas and Emily, the restaurant would never have reached this new pinnacle. He didn't just see them as business partners, he saw them as family. With the restaurant now firmly established as a popular gathering spot, Lucas and Emily knew they needed to continue innovating to maintain their success. They weren't content to rest on their laurels. Instead, they saw the current success as a foundation to build something even greater. New ideas began to emerge, from expanding the menu to considering opening new locations while maintaining the same spirit that had guided the revival of the first restaurant. Lucas and Emily were more determined than ever to continue this journey, knowing that together they could achieve any goal they set for themselves. And so, as the restaurant continued to thrive, Lucas and Emily prepared for the next chapter of their lives. They knew that the success they had achieved was just the beginning, and there was still much more to be done. With their confidence strengthened by the journey so far, they were ready to face the new challenges that the future would bring, with the certainty that, together, they could turn any dream into reality. And now, as the restaurant flourished like never before, they knew that the greatest success was in the journey they were walking together. When Andrew finally returned from a brief trip he had taken to handle some family matters, he wasn't prepared for the transformation awaiting him at his own restaurant. From the moment he walked through the door, it was clear that something extraordinary had happened. The restaurant, which had once seemed destined for failure, now pulsed with life, energy, and above all, success. Andrew, incredulous, walked through the space, observing every detail with fresh eyes, absorbing the changes that had turned the place into something almost unrecognizable. The pride and emotion were visible on his face. Lucas and Emily waited with a mix of anxiety and anticipation, aware that this moment was a significant milestone not only for the restaurant, but also for their relationship with Andrew. When he finally found them, it was clear that words weren't necessary to express what he felt. Andrew looked at Lucas and Emily with a combination of gratitude and respect fully aware that without them, the restaurant would have succumbed to the pressures of adversity. It was a moment of deep recognition, where Andrew fully grasped the magnitude of their contributions. Andrew, always a man of few words, found himself in a rare moment of vulnerability. He expressed his immense gratitude, not just for saving the restaurant, but for the spirit of renewal and hope that Lucas and Emily had brought with them. To him, what they had done went beyond merely saving a business. They had rescued a part of his life that he feared was lost forever. Andrew acknowledged that without Lucas's vision and relentless dedication and Emily's talent and passion, the restaurant would never have become the success it was now. He saw them not just as allies, but as family. This recognition from Andrew not only strengthened the bonds between them, but also solidified the sense of purpose that drove Lucas and Emily. They knew that all the hard work, the sleepless nights, and the tough decisions had been worth it. Andrew's recognition was confirmation that they were on the right path, that their choices had not only saved the restaurant, but also created something lasting and meaningful. Lucas felt that in this moment, Andrew not only acknowledged their efforts, but also fully trusted them to continue guiding the restaurant's future. The impact of this moment was profound for everyone involved. Andrew, who had once carried the burden of potential failure, now saw a bright future for his business, something he couldn't have foreseen without the help of Lucas and Emily. This recognition also brought a new dynamic to their relationship. Andrew began to see Lucas not just as a business partner, but as someone he could trust to help guide the restaurant toward continued success. With Emily, the connection deepened even further, strengthened by the understanding that together they had created something truly special. With Andrew's recognition, Lucas and Emily felt even more motivated to continue the work they had started. They knew that with Andrew's trust and support, they were well prepared to face any challenges that lay ahead. The restaurant, which now flourished, was living proof that with determination, creativity, and collaboration, any obstacle could be overcome. And so, as the restaurant continued to prosper, Lucas, Emily, and Andrew prepared to face the next chapter of this journey, knowing that what they had achieved so far was only the beginning of something even greater. As the restaurant established itself as a success and life began to stabilize, something even more significant started to unfold between Lucas and Emily. The connection that had formed between them during the challenges and victories they shared began to deepen, evolving from a professional partnership into something far more personal and intimate. They weren't just working together anymore. They were sharing their lives, their dreams, and their hopes in ways neither of them had anticipated at the beginning of this journey. The love that blossomed between them felt natural, built on a solid foundation of respect, admiration, and collaboration. Lucas, who had lost so much, found in Emily and the restaurant not only a new opportunity in life, but also a renewed sense of purpose. His relationship with Emily brought forth emotions he thought had long been dormant, and seeing how she interacted with Sophie, Lucas knew he had found something special. Emily, for her part, saw in Lucas a man of strong character, capable of facing the greatest adversities with courage and grace. The way he cared for Sophie, always putting his daughter's well-being first, only reinforced the idea that Lucas was someone with whom she wanted to build a future. As time went on, Lucas and Emily began to talk about the future in more concrete terms. It was no longer just about the restaurant, but about how they could build a life together. Sophie, who had always had a strong bond with her father, quickly formed a connection with Emily. For Sophie, Emily was more than just a friend. She was a maternal figure she had longed for, someone who brought joy and stability into her life. The decision to get married came naturally, as the next step in a journey already marked by so much shared overcoming and growth. Lucas and Emily's wedding wasn't just a celebration of their love, but also a symbol of everything they had achieved together. Andrew, who already saw Lucas and Sophie as part of the family, was deeply moved to see his daughter marry someone he trusted and respected so much. The ceremony, held at the restaurant itself, was simple and intimate, surrounded by friends and family who had closely followed the couple's journey. For everyone present, this union represented the culmination of a story of resilience, collaboration, and love that had transformed not only their lives, but also the surrounding community. With their marriage, Lucas, Emily, and Sophie formed a new family, a unit that reflected the spirit of resilience that had guided them all to this point. The restaurant, which had been the catalyst for so many changes, was now a place filled with love and hope, not just for the customers, but for the family that ran it. Lucas felt that he had finally found what he had always been searching for, a family that supported him, inspired him, and shared his vision of a better future. For Emily, life with Lucas and Sophie was the realization of a dream, a new beginning full of possibilities. And so, as this new family began to settle into their lives together, Lucas and Emily knew that despite the challenges that would surely arise, they were prepared to face them together. The love and unity they had cultivated were the foundations upon which they would build their future. The restaurant, which had been saved by their combined efforts, now flourished under the care and dedication of a family united by love, resilience, and the desire to create something lasting. The future, though uncertain, was bright, and they were ready to write the next chapter of this story together. Over the years, the restaurant became more than just a successful business. It transformed into a true symbol of resilience, love, and collaboration. What started as a desperate struggle to save a failing establishment evolved into an inspiring story that touched the lives of many in the community. Lucas, Emily, and Andrew could never have imagined the impact the restaurant would have, not just on their own lives, but on everyone who crossed their path. The legacy they built together became a beacon of hope for all those facing their own challenges. The story of the restaurant spread beyond the city, with people traveling from afar to experience not just the food, but the warm and inspiring atmosphere that Lucas and Emily had created. The restaurant became a gathering place, a refuge where people felt they were part of something bigger, connected by stories of overcoming and solidarity. Every detail of the restaurant, from the carefully crafted menu to the live music nights, reflected the spirit of transformation that had guided Lucas and Emily from the beginning. And this was something that resonated deeply with everyone who walked through the doors. The restaurant's legacy also manifested in its expansion. With the success of the first location, Lucas and Emily decided to open additional restaurants, maintaining the same spirit and philosophy that had made the original one a success. Each new restaurant was not just a replica of the first, but a continuation of the story of resilience and collaboration that began when Lucas decided to help Andrew save his business. The expansion wasn't just about financial growth. It was a way to spread the message that with determination and mutual support, any adversity could be turned into an opportunity for success. The community around the original restaurant also felt the impact of this legacy. Many were inspired by Lucas and Emily's story to start their own ventures, believing that if they could overcome so many difficulties, anyone could do the same. The restaurant became a hub of support and inspiration, hosting workshops and community events regularly, promoting the idea that success isn't just a matter of luck, but of hard work, collaboration, and a clear vision. Lucas and Emily, always generous with their time and resources, dedicated themselves to supporting these initiatives, knowing they were helping to build a better future for everyone. Andrew, witnessing the growth and impact of the restaurant, felt deeply fulfilled. What he once feared losing had become something much greater than he could have ever imagined. For him, the restaurant was proof that with resilience and the right support, any obstacle could be overcome. He saw in Lucas and Emily not just business partners, but true heroes who had transformed his life and the lives of many others. The pride he felt in what they had built together was immeasurable, and he knew that the restaurant's legacy would continue to inspire future generations. And so the restaurant that began as a business on the brink of collapse became a symbol of everything that is possible when people come together with a common purpose. Lucas, Emily, and Andrew left behind a legacy that was not just material, but deeply human, showing that true wealth lies in the connections we create and the impact we have on others' lives. And with this legacy in mind, they continued to work, knowing that the future still held many opportunities to turn challenges into new stories of success. The journey, though full of obstacles, had proven to be the most rewarding of all. As we reflect on everything that's been achieved, it's clear that this journey was never just about saving a restaurant. It was about resilience, the power of love and collaboration, and above all, the ability to turn challenges into opportunities. The story of Lucas, Emily, and Andrew teaches us that no matter how difficult the circumstances, there's always a way to overcome them when we work together with heart and determination. But now I ask you, what will you do with all this knowledge? How can you apply these lessons to your own life? Perhaps you're facing a challenge that seems insurmountable, but remember that the answer might lie in the people around you, in the connections you can build, and in the resilience that lives within you. Success isn't something that happens overnight. It's a journey of small steps, courageous decisions, and a clear vision of what you want to achieve. So, what's stopping you from taking that next step? Let this story inspire you to transform your life, seek new opportunities, and build something that makes a difference, not just for you, but for everyone around you. And if this story has touched you in some way, share your thoughts in the comments. I want to know how you plan to use these lessons to change your life. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. There's so much more to learn and share, and together we can continue this journey of growth and transformation. Until next time.